Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Christmas is coming up really quick, 5 days from today, and I thought I would do a Christmas review. Well, not really. This is not your usual kind of Christmas movie. I'm going to talk about a movie that came out, I think, last year, and it's called The Mean One. And you may remember the lyrics from the Grinch that stole Christmas. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. That's what it comes from. They can't use the word Grinch in this, and it's the Dr. Seuss story, the children's beloved tale. And so they call it The Mean One. Okay, I think I would have liked it better if they had called it You're a Mean One. If you call it You're a Mean One, that sounds more like the Grinch song, doesn't it? Anyway, some of you may not have ever seen the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, or the Grinch That Stole Christmas, whatever it is. It's a cartoon holiday classic that's played every year pretty much, narrated by the great Boris Karloff. Nice animated story. Anyway, this is from the series of recent films where they're taking children's stories, stuff like Winnie the Pooh, stuff like the Banana Splits, and other movies that are going to be coming out soon in the future. This new subgenre of let's turn kiddie stories into horror stories and killers and things like that. Well, I have to say, going into this movie, I didn't expect much from it, and I didn't get much. However, the thing is, for me, I'm not going to tell any spoilers here with this review. I usually try not to do that for the most part, but there will be spoilers at the very end, and I'll let you know at the very end in advance. If then you can decide if you want to shut this off or continue if you haven't seen the movie, or if you don't want to see the movie, who cares? But anyway, the idea is that there's a town called Newville. Yeah, in the original story, it was Whoville, and of course they can't do that, so they just make it sound similar, Newville instead of Whoville. And there's this animalistic monster, a green furry creature known as the Grinch, and again, who's never mentioned as such in the movie, really, who hates Christmas and everything associated with Christmas. So in the original story, he goes around and he tries to steal all the Christmas presents, all the Christmas decorations and lights. Well, here he goes a step further. Not only does he steal the decorations and steal the lights and try to sabotage Christmas, but he'll kill you too. So for you people that like these kind of things, horror movies, there's that. But, all right, so the story really has to do with, first it starts 20 years prior, where there's a little girl on Christmas that spots supposedly Santa, but it's really the Grinch at the very beginning, who spots him seemingly stealing decorations. Now, I won't spoil anything at the beginning, but this little girl eventually grows up 20 years later to be a 20-something-year-old girl. Well, with respect to the lead actress, who's not bad in this, she doesn't look right to me for the part. I don't know. In the Grinch cartoon, she was a little blonde girl. This time she's a brunette girl. Does that really matter? I don't know. But she seems a little older to me for the part, even 20 years later than she should be. But that's a minor thing. She's still pretty decent in the role. Okay. But the idea is that 20 years later, the Grinch is back. And what brings him back is anytime you have Christmas being celebrated, because for most of the 20 years in the interim, there was no Christmas celebration. They kind of like put away the lights, put away the Christmas carols, didn't decorate, and they tried to keep the Grinch from doing anything evil. Let's put it that way. And yeah, that has to do with a bunch of stuff with the sheriff, is kind of like involved in this and so forth like that. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but that's the gist of the story, and the Grinch is back because this 20-something-year-old girl now, young woman, is actually bringing Christmas back a little bit and so forth. Anyway, now what can I say here? First of all, I didn't like a lot of the photography in here. I don't like a really busy film that's all kind of all over the place. A lot of handheld camera here. I don't mind handheld camera in some movies or some scenes in movies. Sometimes handheld camera is very effective depending on the scene, but it's hard to see what's going on in this, and a lot of times there's a lot of movement. I don't like that style. And also the gore effects, the killing effects, Some of them look really phony. Meaning what I mean by phony is a lot of CGI blood, computer blood, a lot of splashing and stuff that looks kind of absurd. It doesn't really look real, and you can't really always see everything that's happening. Sometimes you can, but a lot of times, if you go for this sort of film, you can't. It's just kind of like it's a big blur. A lot of things are like just a big splotch and blurry, and you don't even know what you're looking at. So I wasn't too crazy with that. Let's talk about the actor who plays the Grinch character, or the mean one for this movie. He's an actor called David Howard Thornton, and some of you horror fans will remember that because he was in movies like this: Terrifier, Terrifier 1, Terrifier 2. He plays Art the Clown. Now, that's no surprise to me. I didn't know going into this that it was Thornton playing the role of the Grinch character. I had no idea. But it's funny, I kind of suspected they were ripping off Terrifier because all the movements at times of the mean one are very similar to Art the Clown. You know, little funny waves, cutesy little motions, a lot of pantomime, and I thought this reminds me of Terrifier. Are they stealing from Terrifier? I mean, what are they borrowing from Terrifier? Turns out that well, you got Thornton in the role. He plays both characters, so there you go. That explains that. Now for a spoiler here that I'm going to say at the end here, and what I liked about the movie. One thing I did like about the movie is I liked the ending of the movie. I like where they were going with this. They kind of show, like in the original story, actually, a good heart to the Grinch. That's all I'll say spoiler-wise. It's not a major real spoiler, but I like the fact that they try to, I don't know, make him more likable, I dare say, after all the heinous acts you see in here. You kind of realize that maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all, that kind of thing. I did like that. I liked that little bit. I thought that was a good way to wrap this up. And that part I really liked. But overall, I mean, it's better than the Terrifier films, just for the reason that there's a little bit more of a story here. There's a little bit more of a structure here. But overall, I'm only going to give this, say, 2 out of 4 stars. I mean, it's just average. It's your average modern horror movie. Yeah. So proceed if you want. Or a lot of you are going to stay away anyway. Whatever. But, yeah, there it is. There's my holiday offering for 2023. Last year's The Mean One.